Well, we're excited to bring our next guest into the studio. I think it's her first time in the studio with me, and that's Summit County Sheriff Candy Fatheree with us this morning. Is that right? You haven't been in here before, have you?
No, I've never been in here before.
We've only talked up on stage at the senior lunches, right?
That's correct.
All right. So you ready to go for this?
Sure.
All right. So there's a couple of things I wanted to talk to the sheriff about. Candy, you and I often on stage at the senior lunches, and you do a great job of presenting and really educating us on scams that you're seeing coming from your officers, coming through your officers, and you give us insight and education what these are all about. And I thought maybe we could start right there.
Sure. There are a lot of scams that are going out right now, but mostly they target senior citizens. I think it's because of the fact that they believe that senior citizens are not as educated as they could be. One of the current scams, or one of the long-standing scams, is that they'll call you on the phone and tell you that they are a deputy or a law enforcement officer. They'll give you the name of an actual deputy or law enforcement officer because they do their homework. So they know what area they're calling. They'll get the name of a local law enforcement officer. They'll say that they're calling from the sheriff's office or the police department, and that they are either Deputy Crawley or it could be Officer Smith, and then they'll tell you that you have an outstanding warrant for failing to appear for jury duty, or not paying a traffic fine, or make up some other story, and then they'll ask you for personal information over the phone where you can pay this bill or this warrant over the phone. Their goal is to try to get your social security number, your bank information, or one of the other things that they'll do is ask you to give your credit card information, or sometimes they'll even ask you to go buy gift cards at a store and then give them all the numbers, and they'll ask you to call back. And unfortunately, people sometimes they believe this. I can promise you, the sheriff's office in every sheriff's office in the state of Ohio, pretty much across the nation, they will never call you and tell you you have a warrant. They'll come to your home and knock on the door. They're never going to call you and tell you you have a warrant. The other thing is, missing jury duty does not give you a warrant. That doesn't happen.
That's interesting, because I was going to ask the sheriff, okay, what would be the warning sign that this is a scam? And the bottom line is, you guys don't make those calls. We
never make those calls. We're never going to call you and tell you that there's a warrant. One of the other scams that they go after seniors with is they'll call and tell you that your loved one, your grandson, granddaughter, daughter, son, that a family member has been arrested and needs bond. And in fact, this happened to my mother-in-law a few years ago, quietly, because there were some challenges within the family. Somebody called and said that they were her grandson, and she believed it. And they asked her to go to, of all places, Target, and get, I think it was $1,000 worth of gift cards. My mother-in-law, in fact, did go get the gift cards, and then she called the people back and gave them all the numbers. She didn't tell us for about 2 days, but they had, and you would think with 4 family members in law enforcement that she would have, she'd have known, but she didn't. She genuinely thought that her grandson was in trouble over in Ravenna, and that she needed to get him bailed out of jail, and they got her for $1,000.
Wow. It's interesting. And again, I imagine the answer to that is you don't make those phone calls, right?
We never make those phone calls. If you're going to pay a bond, you're going to go down to the clerk of courts to pay a bond, or a bonds person.
You're going to get a registered letter or something in the mail, right?
Absolutely. You're going to get something. There's going to be a confirmation. The other thing that's happening is they're spoofing the numbers. So, and spoofing is where they are able to use a number that looks like it's legitimate. So many times up on your phone, when you answer your phone, you'll see perhaps the sheriff's office number, which is 330-643-2181. That may come across your phone, and it's a spoof. So I mean, they're good at what they do, but you just have to be really aware that law enforcement's never going to call you and tell you that you have a warrant, and they're never going to ask for credit card information, Social Security information, or gift cards for bail. That's never going to happen over the phone.
There you go. Sheriff Fatheree is with us in studio here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR.